Some players just laugh in Father Time's face and just keep evolving, improving, and dominating long past their primes.
Wow, what a grab by DeAndre Hopkins for 35.
These aren't just players surviving in the league, they're downright thriving. So today, we take a look around and break down 10 NFL players who just keep getting better with age. Brandon Graham, DE, Philadelphia Eagles. Brandon Graham's journey in the NFL has been a slow burn that turned into a roaring blaze over the years. Remember, this is a guy who was almost labeled as a bust on his rookie deal. A first-round pick in 2010, Graham spent his early years fighting through injuries, inconsistent play, and the brutal expectations of Philadelphia. I mean, think about it. He didn't start a full season until he was 28. He didn't make his first Pro Bowl until he was 32. And double-digit sacks? Those didn't come until he was 34. And now he's out there at 36, not just making plays, but still improving for the Birds as they hunt down another Super Bowl. Jared Goff, QB, Detroit Lions. Remember when Jared Goff was labeled a bust? How about when Sean McVay was sent him packing to Detroit in 2021 and people figured Goff was finished? He was about to be a bridge quarterback and then promptly tossed aside. Well, it turns out that the guy just needed a change of scenery and a little bit of time to refine his game. And maybe even a coach who actually believed in him, which is exactly what he's found in Detroit with Dan Campbell. Fast forward to his age 30 season and Goff is playing the best football of his entire career. The accuracy is sharper, the decision-making is cleaner, and the confidence? Oh, it is through the roof. He's slinging it downfield, threading tight windows, and showing off a calm veteran's poise. Under Campbell and his right-hand man, offensive coordinator Ben Johnson, Goff's transformation has been legit. He's gone from being a QB who needed everything perfect around him to a guy who can elevate the offense. DeAndre Hopkins, WR, Kansas City Chiefs. At 32, DeAndre Hopkins isn't just surviving on name recognition. The man is still an absolute nightmare for defensive backs, especially now that he's paired up with Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid in Kansas City. Maybe even more so than back when he was laboring away in Houston for a carousel of mediocre quarterbacks. Sure, he might not have the burst that he did in his prime, but the hands, the body control, and the route running, oh, they're as deadly as ever. The man's catch radius is still ridiculous as ever. And with his veteran savvy, it looks like he may even still be improving from the stud that made one-handed grabs look like a walk in the park. In Tennessee, with shaky quarterback play, Hopkins was a reliable target who could bail out an offense. What made Hopkins age so well is his understanding of the game. He learned how to exploit defenses, how to find soft spots in coverage, and how to win at the catch point, no matter who's draped on him. And now that he's with Mahomes, he is really dialing it up for a fantastic final act to his NFL career. CJ Mosley, LB, New York Jets. CJ Mosley has been the heart of the Jets defense since he put on the green and white. He's the guy who makes everything tick, the field general, the enforcer, the guy who knows exactly what the offense is going to do before they do it. But this year, things hit a snag and he's been limited to 4 games because of injuries. And, well, the fallout was immediate and ugly. Just think back to how quickly the Jets season fell apart after he went down. Without Mosley on the field, the Jets defense lost its identity. The run defense got gashed, the middle of the field turned into a soft spot, and you could almost hear the confusion echoing from the linebackers. At 32, he has been through the grind before. Injuries are a part of the game, but if anyone knows how to bounce back, it's him. The Jets aren't just hoping that he returns to form, they are counting on it. After all, he is the same guy that completely revitalized his career at age 30 when everyone and their dang mother had already counted him out. Seeing him play just 2 games between 2019 and 2020. Gino Smith, QB, Seattle Seahawks. Gino Smith's career arc is straight out of a Hollywood script. Written off as a backup for years, he finally got his shot with Seattle and turned into a Pro Bowler in his 30s. And you know what? It's actually even better than a Hollywood script. It's a full-on redemption saga with all the twists and turns. From second-round pick to flameout who got his jaw broken by a teammate over a gambling debt to a forgotten backup, and now he is a bona fide Pro Bowler. Look, say what you will about Gino, but the comeback story is impressive. impressive. After getting chewed up and spit out by the Jets and bouncing between clipboard holding gigs, he landed in Seattle. And when Russell Wilson packed his bags for Denver, most people thought that the Seahawks were entering rebuild purgatory. The expectations when he got to Seattle were essentially rock bottom, but he's proven to be more than a stopgap. The veteran took the wheel, floored the gas, and led Seattle back to relevance. He's now playing like a quarterback who spent all those backup years soaking up knowledge and sharpening every edge of his game. There are still moments that'll kind of make you shake your head, but hey, the deep ball accuracy is a work of art. Just ask DK Metcalf or Jackson Smith-Njigba, who have been beneficiaries of him dropping passes into buckets 40 yards downfield with the kind of touch that makes defensive backs look helpless. He's playing smart, confident, and with the swagger of a guy who knows he belongs. Trent Williams, OT, San Francisco 49ers. Offensive linemen rarely get the spotlight, but Trent Williams deserves every ounce of it. At 35, he is still the best left tackle in football. The footwork is flawless, the power is absurd, and his ability to erase edge rushers is borderline unfair. Williams has always been a freak athlete, but his technique and football IQ have only gotten sharper with time. He is a brick wall in pass protection and a bulldozer in the run game. Whether it's a speed rusher or a power guy, Williams handles them with the kind of veteran savvy that's just impossible to teach. He is the definition of a lineman who's gotten better with age, a master craftsman who has perfected his trade. Now, obviously, the injuries are starting to become a little bit of a concern, but hey, reality is when the guy's healthy and in the lineup, there is no one better. Demario Davis, LB, New Orleans Saints. At 35, Demario Davis is still out there making plays like he's a spry 25-year-old. The Saints' defensive captain is a tackling machine, a blitzing terror, and one of the most respected leaders in the league. While most linebackers start slowing down by their early 30s, Davis seems to be getting faster, smarter, and more relentless. It's like he's discovered a secret formula for longevity in the NFL. His sack totals are down in 2024, but he is still the anchor of the defense in NOLA. Davis's game has evolved with his age. His pre-snap reads are elite. The guy can diagnose a play before the ball is even snapped, adjusting the defense on the fly and putting himself in the perfect position to make a stop. His timing on blitzes has only continued to improve. Even if he lost a step at some point, he manages to burst through gaps like a missile, and his ability to drop back in coverage hasn't faded one bit. And he'll pick up tight ends, sniff out screens, or patrol the middle of the field. The man is the personification of consistency and toughness. If there's a play to be made, Davis is going to make it. Sam Darnold, QB, Minnesota Vikings. Based on how his career started with the Jets, who could have thought that Sam Darnold would land on a list like this? After a rough start in New York and an uninspired stint with the Panthers, Darnold was teetering on the brink of irrelevance. But now, in his late 20s and under Kevin O'Connell's wing in Minnesota, Darnold is rapidly evolving. He's not the wide-eyed kid seeing ghosts anymore. He's a more polished, patient quarterback who finally has the right tools and the right system around him. Darnold's arm talent has never been in question, but his decision-making has certainly tightened up, and his confidence is creeping back. He's learned how to operate within a structure, to read defenses more efficiently, and, most importantly, to avoid the back-breaking mistakes that once defined him. He is no longer trying to play hero ball on every snap, and it shows. Darnold's game is aging like a guy who has been through the fire and came out smarter. His story isn't finished yet, and crazy to say it, but the chapters might be even better ahead. Raheem Mostert, RB, Miami Dolphins. If there was ever a player who defined late bloomer, it's former Purdue Boilermaker Raheem Mostert, even appearing on more than a couple of practice squads, before he ultimately landed in San Francisco and found success under Kyle Shanahan. Mostert didn't even crack 300 yards rushing in a season until he was 27. While he hit a little snag getting injured this past season, it is hard to argue that he hasn't largely aged like a fine wine. Mostert is still a full-blown speed demon, still clocking 20+ miles per hour on breakaway runs. And under Mike McDaniel's high-octane offense in Miami, he's turned into a touchdown machine. We're talking about a guy who's pacing the league in rushing touchdowns and carving up defenses like he's in his mid-20s. Not to mention that he managed to break the 1,000-yard threshold for the first time as a 31-year-old in 2023. That is a ridiculous late career progression for a running back. Hassan Reddick, DE, New York Jets. Hassan Reddick's NFL career was one wrong position away from being a total bust. He was drafted 13th overall by the Arizona Cardinals in 2017, but Reddick, an explosive edge rusher at Temple, was inexplicably moved to inside linebacker shortly thereafter, and the result was a bit of a hot mess. As we've seen, he he isn't exactly the kind of guy that likes to go with the flow. I mean, just ask the Jets. But in any case, he looked lost, struggled with assignments, and was eventually benched. The whispers were growing louder that he was a bust. Then fate, or maybe sheer desperation, intervened. Injuries to the Cardinals' edge rushers in 2020 forced them to put Reddick back where he belonged, on the edge, hunting quarterbacks. And boom, just like that, he exploded for 12.5 sacks, which he proceeded to follow up with 3 straight double-digit sack seasons. Now granted, he hit a snag this year with his wayward contract negotiations in New York, but based on his track record, we fully expect him to re-emerge in 2025. But hey, which of these NFL stars do you think has most improved with age? Who do you think we're wrong about? Was there anyone that we may have missed? Let us know in the comment section below. If you like this video and learned a thing or two, clicking the like button helps out a ton, and you know, we really appreciate it. If this is your first time coming around to TPS though, subscribing is a great idea, because we put out videos like this every single day. But as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.